All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. You know, this culture, and before I go on any further, it's going to be hard, very, very hard and strenuous for you to even begin to understand what I am saying if you will not educate yourself to how I'm speaking. And of course, you know I'm going to draw some narratives here. They're going to be truthful too, which many of you don't want to hear. The Bible is from the East. We live in the West. The Western culture stole the Bible from the East. The Western culture has redefined Eastern words. They have put certain words in the scriptures, in the Bible, to suit their monogamous society. And it's hard because a monogamous society is a Gentile society. And Gentiles, you know, Hebrew laws are not for Gentiles. I know that many of you already have challenges already rebutting in your mind. But it's not for you Gentiles to even begin to understand Hebraic culture, because Hebraic culture comes out of the East and is from the East. And there's no way, when you've been reared in a Western monogamous Gentile society, that you can begin to understand biblical commandments, biblical statutes, biblical laws, biblical precepts. That's the reason why people in the West, they change everything. You know, it's amazing. They read the Eastern book, translated from a Western perspective. They insert their Western culture and basically got the Bible saying something that it doesn't even say. Where in the Bible does it tell you to rest on Sunday and call Sunday the Sabbath, or you can pick a day? That's not Eastern thought. That's not Eastern culture. You ever notice some of the most passionate people that there are today comes out of the East? I wonder why. Where in the Bible does it tell you to put up a Christmas tree and celebrate Christmas? See, that's Gentile. That's Celtic, Germanic, Scandinavian, Gentile dogma. That's what that is. And I know it's hard for many of you to square that in your mind, because many of you are religious in nature. Some way, somehow, your institutions, who have taught you nothing but fairy tales, has got you believing. I mean, after all, we even have a holiday in this country called Columbus Day, and Columbus ain't never had his ass on his soil. How in the hell did he get a day? And most of you get offended because of the way that I put it, rather than getting mad at the institutions that has taught you nothing but fairy tales and lies. It's a sad situation, isn't it? But you can't expect a people who are monogamous Gentiles, Eastern in thought. I mean, you think about monogamy for a second. Monogamy is a culture to where you sample the goods, and if you don't like the goods, it's kind of like if you have a cow. And if you have a cow that's out there in the field, you say, give me that cow right there. I'm going to bring this cow on in the trough over. I'm going to milk it. And I'm going to take this cow and milk it, and I'm going to taste this milk. And if I don't like the milk, I'm just going to throw the cow back out in the field. That's what monogamy is all about. It's a culture of fornication. It's a culture of adultery. It's a culture of decadence. It's a culture of illicit sex, while they themselves are trying their best to champion themselves as the moral, righteous entity on the face of planet Earth. The truth is, they are the most immoral entity. And so that's the reason why you see in this society all the promiscuity of little girls can't wait till they marry. And you see all these women who are fragmented in the mind and wonder why our culture is failing, is because of the sexual revolution that's taking place in this culture. I mean, you can't help but to have decadence. You can't but to have indecency and promiscuity, and all these other things that would literally cause people to go batshit crazy. That's what's happening today, because whenever you go out and you fragment the natural order of things and you start living after the Greeks and the Romans and stuff, this is what to be expected. That's why people are going chaotically insane today. So women have been used and abused because they've been turned more times than a doorknob. And what's amazing to me is that these women, they go out here and they allow themselves to be used. They allow themselves to be humbled. And they done been put back in the field. I can't tell you how many times because somebody sampled the goods and don't like it. And they don't have the character nor the integrity or heart of a man that is influenced after an Eastern perspective, because you see, from an Eastern perspective, it's about a covenant relationship that cannot be broken. And this covenant relationship, it's based on the word, the attitude and the word. But this society right here, this Western American, Britain, Germanic, Scandinavian society right here, this thing is about sample the goods. You don't like it, throw it back out in the field. And that's why women are chaotically insane today. But you know what's amazing? They have been used and abused, but then when they get married, they expect monolygamy out of the very culture where they have actually practiced polygamy or polyandry. You can use either one of those terms because neither one of those would be a biblical definition to what an Eastern culture or Eastern perspective is about. And this is one of those subjects that people hate to approach on. And the reason why they hate to approach on it is simply because of this. It's simply because it hits at the heart. You know what I mean? While we have a society that's literally failing because we're following the dictates and mandates of ancient Rome. Because you have all these men out here that don't want to walk in covenant agreement. They want to go and humble all these women, but yet they don't want to have a covenant agreement because, according to Hebraic thought, if you have sex with a woman, that woman becomes your wife. And I know that many of you will come from your Gentile monolygamy mindset thinking that you understand. Yeah, you do. You think you do. But I assure you, you don't know. And it's just utterly appalling and amazing. That's what it is. So if we're looking at the confusion that is brought up on our society or where we're at today, we've got no farther to look than the United States of America. Because while they claim to be monolygamous, they are far from it. Very far from it. There ain't a man or woman in this society that is monolygamous. If it is, show me one. I like to see it. I like to see him or her. And it's just a sad situation. The rich, they don't follow the same rules as those of us who are what you call middle class or poor. No, they have a totally different set of rules and laws. But I've searched that Bible. I've looked all over that Bible. I have combed that thing from Genesis to Revelations. I have looked behind words that has been presented to us from the Greco-Roman Eastern or Greco-Roman Western perspective. I checked it against Hebraic thought, against the Hebrew, and I found out that this culture is a culture of lies. They are bitten of the fruit of lies, and these people are simply, then not only are they not ready for the truth, but they can't handle the truth. Where in the world tells you to go out and celebrate Easter, have a bunch of rabbit laying eggs and chasing them all over the place? See what I mean? They're giving you religion. And religion is man's attempt to serve the Almighty Yahweh his own way. And Yah's rejecting it like he always has. He rejected the offering of Cain way back in Bereshit, commonly called Genesis in the English vernacular. He rejected Cain's offering then, and he's still rejecting Cain's offering now. But hey, when you have had years of these indoctrinations doing that which is right in your own eyes, do you think you're going to begin to even entertain the thought of listening to a real true rakha? A rakha, meaning a pastor? Nah, not at all. Because why? It flies in the face of your tradition, flies in the face of your attitude, it flies in the face of everything that you have accepted in your book of the law. And remember, truth is what sets free. Lie is bind. It bounds. That's the reason why we're bound today. And most of you who claim to know the truth, the only truth that you have ever been able to accept is your own personal opinion, which is not truth at all. And that's just the way it is. And that's just the truth. And so many of you have become nothing but a nation of idolaters because you have actually made an idol of your opinion, and you exalt to the zenith your opinion above that which comes from the actual scriptures, the Torah and the Tanakh. It's a sad situation, and you have, in essence, in yourself become God. You just heard the truth again, and remember, truth is a hard pill to swallow. Yet it's the antidote for a sickness. It's an antidote for religious sickness. It's an antidote for a confused mindset. Shalom.